Hey, welcome back to Home Video Hangouts. Today I'm going to be sharing some big news with you. I'm going to be discussing with you Marvel's upcoming releases and how I believe they can help Marvel return to their former glory, even despite the rough movie releases they've had recently. So over the next 2 to 3 years, we can expect at least 10 to 15 new releases from Marvel. I'm going to be going over some of them here today and why I believe they're important and what we can expect from them. But there could still be more announced, as at any time we could hear new announcements about what's going to be joining the MCU or what further Marvel releases there will be. But to get started, I wanted to dive into our first one, which is Deadpool and Wolverine. I am very excited about this release because I love the first two Deadpool movies, and I think Deadpool brings a really unique perspective to the Marvel universe.
Your little cinematic universe is about to change forever.
And how much comedy is involved in those movies. Not many hero movies on either the Marvel side or the DC side incorporate that much humor and do it so effectively. This is especially because Ryan Reynolds is such a talented actor and he's the perfect person to play this role as Deadpool. But I think especially with this release where they start to incorporate Wolverine into the Deadpool movie, I think that's really important because they've kind of been hinting at that since early on in the Deadpool movies, and I think that's something that Deadpool fans really want to see. And so I think this is one of the things that Marvel needs in order to really start turning the page to the next chapter, and I know that this movie has to be a hit. You know, you never know what's going to happen when a movie comes out, but based on the success of the past Deadpool movies and just everything they have going, I really think this movie is going to be a hit.
I am Marvel Jesus.
Alright, next is a release that I'm a little unsure about. It's a new series Marvel is having coming out called Agatha, Darkhole, Diaries. Now, this one I'm unsure about because I don't think this one's going to have as much of a fan base as some of the other Marvel releases will that I'm going to mention. But this one could be helpful for a unique group of fans with Marvel in that this is going to tie together some of the things we've seen in WandaVision as well as with Doctor Strange. So what this is this will feature Kathryn Hahn as Agatha Harkness, and we initially saw her in WandaVision, and I believe there's some aspects of the Doctor Strange series that kind of hinted towards this as well. And while those aren't series that I follow as closely personally, I think there's a core group of fans that really loved WandaVision that will want to watch this and will really appreciate this. So I think this one could be a win or a loss for Marvel, but we'll see when we go into it. This should be releasing in fall of this year in 2024. All right, next we have Ironheart. This is going to be another series for Marvel. And this will feature Riri Williams, who is a robotics genius who builds a suit of armor that is more advanced than anything Tony Stark ever built or had. And we originally were introduced to Riri from the Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie. And I believe that Riri will likely be part of the upcoming Armor Wars movie as well. So this is initially going to be a series, but I think it will have movie tie-ins like that as well. And I'm really hoping that this one will have similar elements that we enjoyed in the Iron Man films. This seems like it could have some kind of Iron Man tie-in and some similar elements to Iron Man. And so I think there's a lot of potential there for that, as I think Iron Man was a huge success for Marvel early on. You know, the original Iron Man movie is one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time. And I think this could bring back some of those elements we enjoyed from Iron Man. All right, then we have Daredevil Born Again. This is another series. You know, we've already had a Daredevil series through Netflix, and I thought that was an all right series. Again, not Marvel's best, but something that was all right. And we also saw a Spider-Man cameo with Daredevil. So again, there's a lot of potential here. Daredevil is a really cool character, and I think Marvel could do a little better representing this character with their releases. So I really hope that they kind of enter into a new realm with Daredevil in this series and kind of bring new life to the character and the source material, as there's a lot of different directions they can go with it. And I just want to see what they do next. So this is another one where I feel kind of 50-50 about, but I really hope they do something great with Daredevil. All right, then next is the 2025 movie, Captain America Brave New World. This will be Sam Wilson's first Captain America movie where he is solidified as the new Captain America. You know, we already saw him do some great work with the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. I enjoyed that series quite a bit. And I think this is great that we have this movie to kind of establish him as the new Captain America and continue on with what Captain America does with the Avengers or anything else. So this is going to be a great tie-in movie, one we've been waiting for a while, and another one that's going to be extremely important for the future of Marvel. If they do this right, it will establish a great link to the upcoming Avengers movies. All right, the next film I want to mention is another 2025 release, and this one's interesting. This is going to be the release called Thunderbolts. And I don't know too much about what to expect from this one, but from what I gather, this is going to be something kind of like what DC did with the Suicide Squad, where it's another movie that establishes a group of different heroes, or more like anti-heroes, I would say. And we don't know exactly how this will tie into future movies, but they could be important villains for future movies, or maybe they'll face off with the Avengers or something like that. But it sounds like this is going to be something very similar to what we saw with Suicide Squad, and it could be another interesting dynamic to have a group of anti-heroes in the MCU. Alright, next I wanted to discuss the 2025 release of the Fantastic Four. It's been a long time since we've seen any kind of Fantastic Four movie from Marvel, and I'm kind of excited for this sort of reboot they're going to be doing with the Fantastic Four. Especially excited to see John Krasinski in this role. Seemed like kind of a unique role for him, and I'm interested to see how that goes after we saw the Fantastic Four get acknowledged in Spider-Man Far From Home. And then I do think this could also be a pivotal film for Marvel in that this introduces quite a few new characters and kind of ties the Fantastic Four into some other movies as well. So could be another interesting one for us to see, and I'm very interested to learn more about where this could connect. Then a highly anticipated release is going to be the 2025 movie Blade. So this one, I hope I pronounce this right, will have Mahershala Ali playing Blade, and we already saw him play Blade briefly in the Eternals, or at least it was hinted at that there's going to be a future Blade movie in the Eternals, and I think that he would be a great person to play this character, and this would be a unique kind of spin for the Marvel universe, and that this would be a little bit of a darker film. You know, we've seen from DC how a lot of their films are very dark, and I think this is going to be that type of film, but in Marvel potentially. And I hope they do something great with it because of how anticipated this origin story is, and again, this could be a great tie-in to other movies and a really exciting character to explore further. All right, then we have Armor Wars. This is another movie that has an unspecified release date, and this is another one that I think could be a great tie-in to what we saw from prior Iron Man movies. The idea behind this one involves potential villains getting a hold of old Stark tech and using it for bad things, and so I think this could kind of set up some villain work for maybe the future Avengers movies, and just kind of create some more anti-heroes or villains for the universe. And it'll be interesting to see where they go with this, but the name hints at, I think, it being related to tech like we saw in Iron Man, and that's very exciting. I think it's great they're incorporating more of the Iron Man elements into these future movies. Alright, then we're finally getting a sequel to Shang Chi with Shang Chi 2. We don't know exactly when this one will release either, but the first Shang Chi was a very exciting movie that I loved, and I think this is great that they're going to develop that character further, and this could be another character that we could see play a pivotal role in future movies like the Avengers, and I really hope that they even improve on the first movie with this one, because Shang-Chi has a ton of potential, and this is a really strong character for Marvel that could bring in some additional new fans of different backgrounds as well. So I really loved how they incorporated martial arts and dragons and everything into the action sequences from the first Shang-Chi, and I hope we see more of that, and I'm really excited to see what they do next with Shang-Chi. Alright, then we have Spider-Man 4. Spider-Man has always been part of the Marvel movies and series in some way, and we've seen multiple tie-ins to other movies and series with Spider-Man, and it'll be interesting to see how they incorporate potentially Venom and other characters into the next Spider-Man film. I know Tom Holland's still going to be a part of it, and it just seems like these are some of Marvel's most successful movies, and I know that there's a good group of people that only go and see the Spider-Man movies even if they don't see other Marvel movies, and I think it's really important to have fans like that and people who go and see these movies specifically, because it'll just grow Marvel even further. Alright, and last but not least, we have 2 new Avengers movies that are going to be releasing. First, we have Avengers The King Dynasty in 2026, and Avengers The Secret Wars in 2027. These movies are obviously pretty far off, so we don't have a ton of detail about them yet, but it's so exciting that Marvel is bringing back the Avengers and having new Avengers movies even after some of the actors from the previous Avengers movies moved on. And with these, we're going to have a new villain, kind of like we had Thanos before. Now it's going to be this villain called Kang, apparently. And we were introduced to Kang in the Ant-Man Quantumania movie. And I think the MCU really needs these movies to kind of reinvigorate their core group of fans. But they're going to have to do a lot before these movies come out to build them up and kind of reinvigorate fans so they don't have too many of their fans die off before these release. This could really be a turning point for them for the future, but it's still a few years off, so I really hope they do a lot to kind of amp up their crowd before these and make sure that all their other series and movies lead right up to these in a really meaningful way. All right, so in conclusion, we've heard about a lot of upcoming Marvel movies and Marvel series coming out, and we know that Marvel needs to do a lot of work to improve the content that they're putting out there. After some of the failed movies we've seen recently, like Madam Web, we really want to see better from Marvel, and I believe that these upcoming releases will do that, and I think because of these upcoming releases, DC is going to have to work a lot harder as well to compete with Marvel with their upcoming movies. And while they also have a couple cool movies coming out, I think the follow-up to the Batman and to the Joker will be great. I think they're going to have to come out with a lot more to compete with everything Marvel is about to put out in the next few years. So let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on both Marvel or DC, or what movies you're most excited for coming out soon. And make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button below to hear more about upcoming movie releases and what to expect next from Marvel and DC. But thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.